Minister for Children and Youth Affairs, with the funding applied for and allocated to the local authority in County Tipperary under the Capital Grant Scheme for Play and Recreation in 2017-2018 and to date in 2019, and should make a statement on the matter, please.
The Capital Grant Funding Scheme in my department for play and recreation was introduced in 2013 to support the development or refurbishment of play and recreation facilities. €250,000 was provided each year between 2013 and 2018 for new and innovative play and recreation spaces and facilities, with a maximum grant allocation of €20,000 per local authority. Each local authority was required to match funding of the amount requested from my department. In 2017, 21 local authorities received funding under the scheme. Tipperary Local Authority applied for $20,000 and was awarded $8,000 for the refurbishment and replacement of the safety surface at Templemore Park Playground. In 2018, 26 local authorities received funding. Tipperary applied for €12,500 and was awarded €7,500. This funding was for the refurbishment of Fair Green Playground, Carrick-on-Suir, and the refurbishment of Dunesk Playground, Cahir, County Tipperary. And in 2019, I increased the amount of capital funding available under this scheme from €250,000 to €450,000. In consultation with the local authority play and recreation network, we agreed to allocate a maximum of €30,000 per local authority for the upgrade and refurbishment of existing play and recreation facilities. That includes for the provision of new equipment, the development of natural play areas, and the refurbishment of existing play facilities. The local authority, though, is required to provide 25% of the funding requested from the Department of Children and Youth Affairs for the application to be considered. In 2019, Tipperary Local Authority applied for €28,350 and was awarded €21,262 for the refurbishment, rehabilitation of 3 drives, Karen Ready Tipperary Town Multi-Use Games Area. 23 local authorities also received funding. So there's continuous engagement between my department and the local authority play and recreation network to ensure that the play and recreation scheme is highlighted at both the local and the national level.
Well, my good Minister, I know, Minister, that you will accept the fundamental importance of play and activity to development in any child. It's also important for families as a whole to have a dedicated public play and recreation area that can be utilised when needed. From the most recent PQ information that I got from you, Minister, I note that in 2016 to 18, only 3 playgrounds, were developed or refurbished in County Tipperary. While I'm sure that the communities who had the playgrounds all benefit, I'm sure that the Minister will accept that is a fairly insignificant number of refurbished playgrounds. I want to salute all the communities that put playgrounds in place. Many of them are volunteer efforts. You mentioned one there, Care, Dunesk and Care. I want to salute Nellie Williams and the CDA in Care for having the brainchild there. Same in Karen Ready in Tip Town. These are areas of lots of deprivation, and the figures indeed show demographic profile conducted by the Tipperary Education Training Board show that South Tipperary continues to show an above-average proportion of young people, which is great. And the ETB also found that the youth population in South Tipperary is likely to grow approximately 19,000 to 19,000 by 2026. In that context, the greater expansion of public play amenities is necessary. And Minister, the community groups can't do it. It's fine putting in the infrastructure. They were the enabling bodies that drew down the funding and put them there. But we need to have them maintained and upgraded. We can't have them closed. And as I said, I want to salute CDA and others who at this present time are trying to reopen their playground in Care.
I completely agree with you of the importance in terms of this particular funding and for the play areas, and that more are developed, that also that they are consistently offered the opportunity for refurbishment and development, and that is what the purpose of this funding is for. May I just point out again, I mean, you indicate only 3 in relation to Tipperary, that in 2019 our investment went from €250,000 to €450,000 from the year before for 2019. That's a significant increase. Also, that it's important for, again, the current criterion is that we offer €30,000 per local authority, and it is within that decisions are made. But what's really critical too, I think, is that rather than asking for a 50% matching funding, that is now looking for 25% matching funding for the local authority. So all of that that is moving in the right direction in terms of supporting local areas, including local authorities, including in County Tipperary, for more investment in relation to this kind of work.
Well, the communities haven't been found wanting and won't be, Minister, but your department is. I accept that most local authorities have applied. I also acknowledge the work that the department does with the local authority for play and recreation network under the LAPRN. I'm also aware that in 2018 the Minister's Department has established annual meetings with LAPRN members and established a subgroup. But all this is fine. As part of the process, the Minister and the Department have been able to identify particular issues with respect to insurance costs and with local authorities. There's a huge issue here, right across the community spectrum, that we have invested hugely over the years, good times and bad times, with the enabling bodies of the communities. In Atlee, Curl and Kayla, where they put us on the road, the people with the vision and the passion for this. But we need funding to keep them maintained and upgraded. It's no point having an investment for a few years and then it's closed and we don't have the funds, and the people haven't the energy or the funds or the capacity to repair them. So we must invest more in our community facilities. It's fine to allocate the grants to get them up and have a cutting of the tape and big hoo-ha, but we must ensure that there's sufficient funding to keep these active and small maintenance every year, rather than having big issues develop with them. So we must support the communities who support themselves.
Well, thank you, Deputy. And again, I certainly agree it's important to have them maintained, serviced, and some of the funding is going to, obviously, they're upgrading. As you yourself indicate, there is an ongoing and really good engagement between, certainly, with the local authority play and recreation network, along with my department and other local authorities. And so your points in relation to maybe perhaps in the future some of the investment going towards that kind of ongoing servicing as well as the upgrading, I think we need to take account of that. I'm just saying and hearing that, and want to signal that that needs to be part of the consultation and conversation, which would ultimately impact the way in which decisions are made and the criteria developed for funding for 2020. So thank you for making those points.